write a short form service request, and later on in the day, this is the work order that you're going to use when we start talking about plans on the plans tab of the work order. So I am going to go to self-service, service request, create service request. And I'm going to use the asset for Four Corners, because that's what I know best. It will, of course, fill in your location based on your asset. I need to give it a priority, and keep in mind the priority that goes on a service request may not be the priority that your area coordinator puts on it when they screen it. So I'm going to say it's a 3, and I'm going to say that I want to change out the impeller on number 1 north deep clay pump. Now, you keep in mind, for those of you who might be out there finding items that need repair, you have this big space down here under details that you can put all the information that they might need to be able to process this request. I've filled in everything that needs to be filled in, and I am going to submit it. Now I'm going to return to the start, so I'm going to write my number down, just in case. But what should happen is, if I return to the Start Center, now here is the service request. This is what the coordinator would see. You see I'm on the coordinator tab right now. So as the coordinator, I now have this service request to screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. Now I am on the long form. So the person who screens this is going to see that they're going to decide what the priority is going to be. And I'm going to make it a 3 because we're going to be using these work orders for our planning today. It needs to have a work type. And you know, these are your choices. I'm going to make this a corrective maintenance. I'm going to make it a repair. I'm not going to put a budget amount on it. And let's just talk about the budget amount for just a minute for those of you who are not aware. The area coordinator or the production coordinator, whatever it's called at your site, they are in control of this budget amount. If they think if they have an amount that they're willing to spend for this repair, or if they might know, I know there are a couple of coordinators who have been in other positions and they have an idea what parts might cost, they would put a budget amount here. I'm going to leave it at 0, and I want you to see what happens whenever you do that. So it will take 0 as the budget amount when they screen it. So it has to have a scheduling code, so I'm going to make this equipment only. This pump has to be down to be able to do this. I'm going to put a crew work group on it, and I want you to see how you can find your crew work group. If you hit the magnifying glass, and I know this is a Four Corners crew, so it is the washer mechanical crew. You can put a work reason here, but it's not required at this point. Going forward, that will be required if your asset has a failure code on it. That's coming in the very near future. Let's see, what's the first Monday? And when I screen them, I always put in a good time, because if you do not put in a good time, every task that the planner adds is going to be at a bad time. I mean, we don't start jobs at 11 p.m. We don't start them at 8:34 in the morning. We typically say we're going to start them at 7. Then the scheduler has the option to change that. Say they had 2 4-hour jobs on the same day for the same crew work group. They might put one at 7 and one at 11. So, but try to always, and if you are planning and your area coordinator has not put a good time here, please verify that there is a good time on the target start date. That is very important. All right, I think I have filled in everything that needs to be filled in. If I was screening it, I'm going to save it. I am going to route it. I'm going to say I want to approve it. Problem code is missing, so that means this one has a failure code on it. You see the failure class is pump centrifugal, that PUCE. That means I have to put a problem code on this. I'm going to say that it is low performance. Save it again. Now this is closed, so we should have, if we go to related records, now we have a work order, which should have gone to A plan. Don't know if it's going to, SR is not approved, once approved. Well, the SR is already closed.
New message is received from my hot wife.
Sorry, that was funny. I don't do this function very often, so not sure what's going on here. It is closed, and it was already approved. Now it's A plan. It takes a few minutes sometimes for the system to catch up, especially in the training database. Now there's an A plan work order. And what should happen is, let me go back to, now if I go back, yes, I want to save it. Now there should be, if I was the planner for this group, which I am not, because I'm not in this crew work group. If I was the planner for this crew work group, these are all, there would be A plan work orders showing right here. That one I just did, here is the one, I'm sorry, here's the one I just did. No, I'm sorry. That was one I did last time we did planning. So, I know I went through that really fast, but what I'm going to ask each of you to do, and this is going to be when we take a break at 8:30, or leading up to the 8:30 break, should I say. I'm going to ask each of you to use the asset that I put in the chat window for your site, and I want you to write a service request. I will approve it because I'm the primary user on those assets that I gave you. And then you're going to have a work order that should be showing up on your home screen. Any questions about that? I know some of you were not here when we did day one. Okay, I'm going to do something else that we also did on day one. I am going to go to work orders, quick reporting. Now, quick reporting is, for me, quick reporting is when I am on call at night, something breaks, and I need to be able to buy parts. You can see this is immediately a wrapper work order, which is reactive approved. It means the work order is in an approved status, and I'm going to be able to use it. So I'm going to use that same asset. Again, it's going to fill in all the information. I'm going to say the number 1, North D. Clay. In the shell. Again, you fill in all those usual fields, and for expediency's sake, I'm just going to type that in. It's automatically a reactive work type. It's probably going to ask for, because this has a failure code on it, it may ask for something else here. So basically, all you need to do is say who does the work, what the problem is, what the asset is. Now, I'm going to tell you, this field complete, that is not what is supposed to happen. There is an error in this training database right now with quick reporting, and we don't know why that is. That's beyond my capabilities to know the answer to that question. It has been reported to them. This should not have changed to field complete. This should have stayed as a wrapper work order. So in the production database, in the live database, this would have stayed as a wrapper work order. And you could use it to write a desktop requisition. You could use it to buy parts out of the warehouse on a desktop requisition, or as a buy direct part on a desktop requisition. You can charge, the crew's time to it, whoever came out and worked on the call. So just ignore this field complete because that is an error. So I know there are quite a few of you who probably have to use this at some point because, like I said, typically for me, that's I'm on call at night, somebody calls, something's broken, I need to be able to get parts right away. This does not make you wait for it to go through the financial approval like a service request does, or a work order that has to go through the area coordinator to have a budget amount put on it, and then for them to process it through workflow. This immediately would let you use it. You wouldn't have to wait for anybody else. And I'm also going to want you guys to write a desktop requisition. No, I'm sorry, not a desktop requisition, I apologize. A quick report work order like I just did. I'm going to show you again. You just go to work orders, quick reporting. And then you just click on the new, and you would just write, and you just have to fill in a few fields. You're going to fill in what the problem is. You're going to fill in the asset. You're going to fill in the crew work group, and you're going to save it. Anybody have any questions about either one of those things? Because what we're going to do right now, till the break, we're going to try to take a break at 8:30. We're going to take a break probably as close to every hour or at a stopping point as we can. So I'm going to ask each of you to sign in to the training database. Maximo 7.6 training should be the same password as you use in the regular database. And I want each of you to write a service request and then write a quick report work order. And as you write those service requests, they should show up on my home screen. And I am going to screen them. And then you're going to have 8 planned work orders. And then we're going to move on to some work plans on the plans tab. We're going to talk about job plans. And we're going to talk a lot about PMs as well. So you guys go ahead and get started with that. If anybody has any questions, I really appreciate how good everybody has been about being on mute. But if you have questions, unmute yourself.